In this video, I'm going to show you the best budget action cameras you can get at every price range. No matter your budget, I will help you find the best pick for your needs. Let's go. First, we are going to take a look at the best options in the under $50 range. First, we have the AKASO EK7000. For under $50, it's impressive that you get a huge bundle of accessories and a handy wrist remote, which is something the other two cameras do not include. The camera advertises 4K video, but I found it's best to stick to the 1080p setting for smoother footage, as the 4K mode is quite choppy and not very usable. Keep in mind, there is absolutely no electronic image stabilization, so unless you have a very steady hand or a gimbal, your videos will come out looking very shaky. Next, we have the SJCAM SJ4000. This one is a classic in the budget world, and its 1080p video at 30 frames per second has surprisingly punchy and pleasant colors, arguably looking better than the other two cameras on this list. The biggest downside I found is its tiny 1.5-inch screen, which feels very dated and is much smaller than the 2-inch screens on the AKASO and Dragon Touch, making it difficult to frame your shots. However, its build quality feels really solid for the price, and it includes a useful car mode, allowing you to use it as a simple dash cam, which is a great bonus. Finally, we have the Dragon Touch Vision 3. This camera is a direct competitor to the AKASO, and just like it, this one comes packed with a ton of mounts and a waterproof case so you can get started right away. The video quality is very similar to the EK7000, with a usable 1080p resolution and a less impressive interpolated 4K mode, though I felt the colors were a little more washed out compared to the SJCAM. Just like its main rival, the Vision 3 completely lacks any form of image stabilization, and the built-in microphone is very tinny, so you will not be capturing great audio with it. Next, we are going to take a look at the best options in the $50 to $100 range. First, we have the AKASO Brave 4. For its price, it's impressive that you get 4K video at 24 frames per second and an absolute mountain of accessories right in the box, saving you a ton of money from the start. I found the 5x digital zoom and adjustable view angle really useful for framing shots, though its electronic image stabilization does a decent job on simple walks, but can get a bit shaky with more intense action. The biggest letdown for me was the built-in microphone, which makes audio sound a bit distant and tinny, so you might need a separate audio source for clean sound. Next, we have the AKASO V50X. This one feels like a small step up from the Brave 4, delivering a smoother 4K at 30 frames per second and a responsive touchscreen that makes navigating the menus so much easier than fiddling with buttons. The 6-axis image stabilization is also a noticeable improvement, making my footage look much less jittery when I was moving around. However, shooting at these higher settings really seems to drain the battery pretty quickly. While it produces a cleaner image than the Brave 4, it does lack a front-facing screen, which makes it less ideal if you plan on filming yourself a lot. Finally, we have the WOLFANG GA100. This camera is a real surprise, often costing less than the others while including handy features like a front screen for selfies and vlogging, plus it comes with 2 batteries right out of the box. Its 4K video quality is quite good for the money and holds its own against the AKASOs in good lighting, but the image stabilization is definitely the weakest of the 3, so expect more shaky footage during heavy movement. Ultimately, you're trading that top-tier stabilization you might find on the V50X for the convenience of dual screens and an unbeatable value bundle, making it a great choice if features are more important to you than perfectly smooth video. Next, we are going to take a look at the best options in the $100 to $200 range. First, we have the AKASO Brave 7 LE. The front-facing screen on this camera is a game changer at this price, making it super easy to frame up my vlogging shots without any guesswork. I really appreciate that its body is water resistant on its own for splashes or rain, so I do not need the bulky case for everything, though its 4K video tops out at 30 frames per second. While it comes with a fantastic bundle of accessories and 2 batteries, the electronic image stabilization is just okay and tends to crop into the image quite a bit to keep things steady. Next, we have the WOLFANG GA300. This camera's biggest selling point is that it records in 4K at a full 60 frames per second, which gives me much smoother looking action footage compared to either AKASO. The major trade-off for that smoother video is the complete lack of a front-facing screen, making this a poor choice if you plan on filming yourself a lot. It does try to improve on the typically bad audio of budget cameras with a dual microphone system, but you still need to put it in the included waterproof housing for any serious underwater action, which muffles everything anyway. Finally, we have the AKASO EK7000 Pro. This is often the most affordable option of the three, and for the money, the video quality in good daylight is surprisingly solid, even if the 4K resolution is limited to a less smooth 25 frames per second. Unlike its Brave 7 LE sibling, this one has no water resistance without its plastic housing, so you have to snap it into the case for any kind of protection, and it is also missing a front screen. Honestly, if you're on the tightest budget, this is a great starter camera, but its image stabilization and low light video are noticeably weaker than both the Brave 7 and the Wolfang. Next, we're going to take a look at the best options in the $200 to $350 range. First, we have the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro. I had to do some serious digging for this one, and it seems to be waiting in the wings for a future release, so I'm going to base my thoughts on its fantastic predecessor, the Action 4. The standout feature I'd expect to see is that large sensor, which gives it a huge advantage in low light conditions, making my nighttime shots look far cleaner than other cameras, and the magnetic quick release mount is a genuine game changer for swapping accessories on the fly. However, if it follows the family trend, the footage, while great, may not look quite as sharp as a GoPro's in bright daylight, and the stabilization, while excellent, sometimes introduces a small crop at the highest resolutions and frame rates. Next, we have the GoPro Hero 13 Black. Much like the DJI, the Hero 13 Black seems to be just over the horizon, so I'm going to compare it based on the currently available Hero 12 Black. If it's an evolution of the Hero 12, you can bet it will have that legendary hyper-smooth stabilization that makes incredibly shaky footage look professionally smooth, and I find the ability to connect my Bluetooth headphones for audio recording is a feature that I now cannot live without. The downside with GoPro has traditionally been its smaller sensor, meaning it won't be the champion in dark environments compared to the DJI or Insta360, and you still need to be mindful of it potentially overheating during long stationary recordings in high-quality modes. Finally, we have the Insta360 Ace Pro. This camera is on the shelves right now, and it really brings some unique ideas to the table that I've found incredibly useful. The massive flip-up screen is the star of the show, making it so much easier to frame shots from any angle compared to the fixed screens on the others. And its large sensor paired with a Leica lens produces a beautiful image with some very clever artificial intelligence features. The trade-off is that it is less waterproof out of the box, only rated for 10 meters without a dive case. And while its software is powerful, I found the menu system to be a bit more complex and took longer to learn than its rivals. Next, we are going to take a look at the best options in the $350 plus range. First, we have the Insta360 Go3S. This thumb-sized camera is shockingly versatile now that it shoots in 4K resolution, and I found its magnetic mounting system lets you get creative shots that are impossible with a bigger camera. You really can stick it anywhere from your hat to your pet's collar for a unique point of view, but you absolutely need the Action Pod case for any real battery life and the flip screen, which makes the whole package much bigger. Be warned though, its main weakness is that you are completely reliant on that pod for charging, and the tiny camera on its own can get quite hot during longer 4K recordings. Next, we have the Insta360 X4. This camera is all about capturing everything at once with its new 8K 360-degree video, which gives you insane reframing options in editing so you never miss the action. I love just hitting record and not worrying about pointing the camera. Plus, the removable lens guards are a lifesaver for a camera that has glass on both sides, which is a big improvement over older models. However, filming in 8K creates enormous video files that will fill your memory cards fast and require a powerful computer to edit smoothly, making it less convenient for quick clips than the Go3S. Finally, we have the Insta360 Ace Pro. This is a more traditional action camera, but it packs a huge one over 1.3-inch sensor co-engineered with Leica, delivering what I found to be the best low-light video quality of the three by a significant margin. The big flip-up screen is fantastic for vlogging, and features like pausing and canceling a recording are a small but brilliant touch that the others lack. While its image quality is top-notch, it is the bulkiest camera of this bunch, and it doesn't offer the unique 360-degree capture of the X4 or the tiny, discreet form factor of the Go3S. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you found this video to be helpful, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future.